In today's world, the pursuit of wealth is almost ubiquitous. Whether amidst the towering skyscrapers of cities or within the glossy facades of social media, wealth is frequently equated with success, while poverty is often deemed a failure. Advertisements relentlessly tell us that life's value lies in owning a bigger house, a more luxurious car, and a more refined lifestyle. Consequently, many people throw themselves into a ceaseless competition, constantly working overtime, consuming non-stop, and even leveraging future debt to fuel their current desires. However, when we quiet ourselves and open the Bible, we discover a distinctly different voice. The Bible doesn't deny the existence of wealth, nor does it entirely diminish its value. But what it offers us is a transcendent view of wealth, a deeply hidden wealth code within it. The Bible begins by reminding us that the true source of wealth isn't our own abilities, but rather God's provision. As it's written in Deuteronomy, "But remember the Lord your God, for it is He who gives you the ability to produce wealth." In other words, while our intelligence, opportunities, and hard work are undoubtedly important, the real power behind them is God's grace. We are simply stewards of wealth, not its ultimate owners. It's much like someone being entrusted with the management of a company. They must manage it with utmost diligence and care, yet the ultimate ownership doesn't belong to them. This kind of awareness fundamentally changes our attitude towards money. If we believe wealth belongs entirely to us, we easily succumb to greed and selfishness. But if we understand wealth as a trust, we will use it with a greater sense of responsibility and reverence. On the path to accumulating wealth, the Bible offers a wealth of wisdom that remains profoundly relevant even today. Proverbs says, "Lazy hands make for poverty, but diligent hands bring wealth." This isn't just a simple moral teaching, it's a law that has been proven true countless times. Diligence is the cornerstone of wealth accumulation. If a farmer neglects planting in the spring, they will not reap a harvest in the fall. A professional in the workplace who refuses to learn new skills or is unwilling to enhance their own value will struggle to thrive in the economic landscape. Diligence is a fundamental principle established by God in the world. Meanwhile, the Bible also emphasizes the importance of wisdom. Wisdom is more precious than gold and silver because it can guide people to manage their wealth properly. In modern society, some individuals, despite earning high incomes, still find themselves struggling to make ends meet due to a lack of financial wisdom. Conversely, others with more modest incomes, through self-control and careful planning, manage to live stable and prosperous lives. A line from the book of Ecclesiastes offers a piece of wisdom that remarkably aligns with investment principles. Invest in 7 ventures, yes, in 8. You do not know what disaster may come upon the land. What this verse conveys is the wisdom of not putting all your resources in one basket, but rather understanding how to diversify risk. Today's financial world calls this a portfolio, and entrepreneurs refer to it as a diversified strategy. Yet, thousands of years ago, the Bible had already warned humanity to prepare for future uncertainties. This kind of prudence and foresight is, in itself, the embodiment of wisdom. The Bible also emphasizes the importance of saving and self-control. Proverbs says, "In the house of the wise are stores of choice food and oil, but a foolish man devours all he has." Modern people often find themselves in the predicament of living paycheck to paycheck, spending everything they earn, and even resorting to credit cards and loans to spend beyond their means. Over time, not only do they fail to accumulate wealth, but they also become burdened with heavy debt. The Bible tells us that learning to curb our desires and understanding how to save is where true wisdom lies. Wealth isn't accumulated overnight, it's slowly built up, bit by bit, through consistent moderation and saving. The true meaning of wealth isn't merely about satisfying personal needs. Its greater value lies in its potential to be a tool for blessing others. There's a thought-provoking verse in Proverbs. One person gives freely, yet gains even more, another withholds unduly, but comes to poverty. To human understanding, giving often seems like a reduction. But in God's law, generosity is actually the path to increase. Someone who understands the power of giving will not only earn respect and trust in their relationships, but will also be blessed in God's sight. Giving is not a loss, it's a sowing. When we help those in need, it is as Proverbs says, "He who has pity on the poor lends to the Lord." God will certainly repay this loan, and this return often transcends the realm of money, even bringing inner joy and peace of mind. However, wealth also has its pitfalls. 1 Timothy clearly states, "The love of money is the root of all evil." There's nothing inherently wrong with money itself, but the love of money can make people lose their reason and make poor choices. How many people, in pursuit of wealth, have ruined family relationships, lost their integrity, and even broken the law? Here is the accurate English translation. As the proverb reminds us, the borrower is servant to the lender. When an individual habitually overspends and takes on excessive debt, they become a slave to debt, and their life loses its freedom. Much of the suffering in modern society actually stems from a misguided attitude towards money, rather than money itself. Here's the English translation. Facing wealth, the Bible offers us a higher perspective. In the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus said, "Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where earthly treasures decay and are stolen. Instead, store up treasures in heaven." No matter how much earthly wealth we accumulate, there will come a day when it's lost. However, the treasures in heaven are eternal. The Gospel of Mark reminds us, "What good is it for someone to gain the whole world, yet forfeit their soul?" These words are truly sobering. If someone spends their entire life chasing money, only to lose the meaning of life and peace in their soul, that wealth ultimately holds no value. True wealth, however, is that relationship with God, that peace and contentment that is not swayed by circumstances. When we view wealth through the lens of the Bible, we uncover its hidden code. Wealth is a trust from God, not man's master. We must acquire it with integrity, manage it with wisdom, use it generously, and view it with contentment, and the ultimate goal is not earthly pleasure, but heavenly inheritance. Modern people chase financial freedom, but the true freedom the Bible speaks of isn't the numbers in your bank account, it's the liberation of the soul. It's only when someone learns to be content, understands the joy of sharing, and embraces an eternal perspective, that they are truly rich. In real life, these principles apply just as much. A hardworking young person who understands how to save and invest, while also diligently avoiding unnecessary debt, will lay a solid foundation for their future. An entrepreneur who consistently demonstrates integrity in their business practices, genuinely cares for their employees, and generously gives back to society, often finds that their enterprise tends to endure longer. An ordinary family, if they learn to practice moderation in their daily spending, support one another, and make an effort to help others, will find their home, though perhaps not extravagant, filled with joy and peace. Wealth itself is a double-edged sword. It can be a blessing, or it can be a bondage. Biblical wisdom offers us another path, one that doesn't lead us into an endless pursuit, but rather teaches us how to put wealth in its proper place. When we understand this, we can, even in this materialistic world, Embark on a truly blessed path.